guys, welcome back. We're going to take a look at the circulatory system in a human. Just a quick recap. We're going to dive right in. Remember, we had a closed system that pumps blood, so that means it's self-contained within the arteries, veins, capillaries, within our blood vessels. So the blood shouldn't be leaving any of the part of that system. It's a double loop circulatory system again. So loop one is going to provide blood from the heart to the lungs and then back to the heart. So you can easily kind of see this is loop one, all right? And then we go to loop two, and in loop two, we're gonna go from the heart. Now our blood in our heart has oxygen. It's gonna go from the heart out to the body and then drop the oxygen off, then back into the heart. So this is what we refer to as double loop circulation. Remember, its function is to work with the respiratory and digestive systems, deliver oxygen and nutrients, and remove CO2 and any waste products that are created as a result of the processes going on. So our goal today is to look at the human heart, understand blood flow and the structures that help to move blood throughout the body. So we'll begin, again, four-chambered mammalian heart is structured this way. Now, looking at this diagram up here, we have a lot of things to label. It can look overwhelming, but really, when you boil it down, it's really simply everything here. Now, this animation here goes pretty quick, so what we'll do is kind of look at it here one time as it moves through. You kind of follow the green arrow, and then we'll use these labels to mark up our diagram, which I think is a little more clear, a little easier to see. And obviously we'll move through a little slower. So to begin with, while these are loops, these are systems that are closed. You could really start anywhere, but I think it's probably easiest just to start on the right side of the heart, and we need to mark that up too, okay? The right side and left side. I know what you might be thinking. That's wrong, Mr. Sheffley. You don't know the right and left side of the heart. Remember, we're looking kind of at a mirror image, and so the sides of the heart really can be split like this on this angle. So the right side, it's like if you you turn the heart around and you're looking at it as a mirror image. So just try to think of it that way. Hopefully that helps. So basically on the right side of the heart, we're going to start with the vena cava. All right. So the vena cava comes in here and here. All right. There's an inferior vena cava and superior vena cava. So this is superior vena cava. Okay, right there. And this is the inferior vena cava. Okay, so the deoxygenated blood arrives to the heart this way. Now, this doesn't come in the bottom. They connect back here, and then they come in this way for deoxygenated blood. So deoxygenated blood arriving into the heart is at 5 here, and it's arriving in the heart in the right atrium. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Right atrium is there. So I'll just abbreviate it, right atrium. After the deoxygenated blood gets into this right atrium, this is a collecting chamber, not a pumping chamber. It's going to be in here, and it's going to be regulated with its blood flow by number 6, which is going to be the tricuspid valve. All right, so tricuspid valve. So the tricuspid opens and closes and regulates blood flow into this next part, which is 7, which is the right ventricle. And the ventricle is a pumping chamber. So we know we get to the right ventricle, we're going to be pumping the blood out of the heart to somewhere. And our options are to the lungs or to the body. All right, in this case, it's deoxygenated blood, and it needs to go to the lungs to drop off carbon dioxide, pick up oxygen. Before it can do that, we don't want our heart leaking, so we need another valve right here on our diagram. Okay, and this valve here is going to be our pulmonary valve or pulmonic valve. Okay, the pulmonary valve is going to regulate blood to being pumped out to the lungs. So when we pump out to the lungs, so we follow the blood flow into here, the ventricle, past the pulmonary valve, and then we got to go to the lungs. Now, think about it this way. here, and here. All right. We have the pulmonary arteries. All right. So keep in mind the splits. Should make sense. Pulmonary means lungs, and they're arteries. They go away from the heart. So pulmonary arteries are sending blood out to the lungs, moving away from the heart. They have to split to go to each lung. You have a right and a left lung, and they move out this way. So pulmonary arteries. Okay. So basically, that's what we have for the first loop, almost complete. Right. We come in, we go out to the lungs. Now we need to come back to the lungs and come back to the heart. So we went to the lungs to drop off this deoxygenated blood, get the carbon dioxide out, pick up oxygen. Now, what do we need to do? We need to bring the oxygenated blood back to the heart, and that's going to come in here. So remember, there needs to be these on either side of the heart because we have a right and a left lung. So 4 and 10 are going to be our pulmonary veins, and this is oxygenated blood. Okay. So oxygenated blood comes in. We've completed loop number 1, and we come into this first thing, which is going to be an atrium, a collecting chamber. So this is left atrium. We're going to be regulated by a valve to separate the atrium and ventricle, separate those two chambers. So this valve is going to be referred to as the mitral valve. You might also see this as bicuspid valve as well, but mitral valve. And then we get into the left ventricle, which is our pumping chamber. Now we're pumping out somewhere, right? Ventricles pump. So this is going to pump out not to the lungs. We don't need oxygenated blood going there. So where do we need oxygenated blood going? We need it going out to the body. So it's got to do this, but it's got to get through point 13 here, which is going to be the aortic valve. So the aortic valve keeps blood from leaking out into the body. So it's got to pump with a purpose, and when it does, it releases blood out through the aorta. The aorta kind of tucks underneath this, by the way, and goes up here. In the aorta, we have ascending aorta here, and then we have descending aorta down here. So descending aorta. And then this is the ascending aorta. Okay, so it looks kind of like a mess, but hopefully makes sense when you look at this and follow step by step how blood moves, if it's oxygenated or deoxygenated, as it moves through the heart, going through the double loop circulation.